I want to follow an Abrahamic religion. And he had an ambassador from Muslims, an ambassador from Christianity, and an ambassador from Judaism. And he chose Judaism. So he mass converted, forced his people, his nation, to become Jews, the Khazars. And they became the Ashkenaz. So they had nothing to do with Palestine. Nothing. But they're the ones in power now.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ada satu video cuplikan yang menarik dari luar sana. Adanya perdebatan seorang mualaf wanita, bule. Dia berdebat atau diajak debat, diskusi lah ya, mungkin mengenai perihal cewek cantik ini ternyata adalah seorang mualaf. Tanpa banyak basa-basi, yuk kita lihat cuplikannya apa saja yang mereka bahas.
I was asking a question about who controls your life, because you say that American politicians are controlling American people, but you have seemed to devote your life to Islamic religion, which seems like you are being controlled by it completely.
Controlled by?
No, I'm asking about
religion. Doesn't control me. Religion guides me. You know what controls me? The law.
What?
We're controlled, me and you, by the law of the country that we live in. But religion doesn't control me. It says in the QUR'AN, لا إكراه في الدين. There's no compulsion in religion. So in Islam, the idea of control and compulsion is prohibited, because what benefit would it be if someone is Muslim just because they're forced to be a Muslim? It defeats the purpose of a test. It's not a test anymore. So no, I'm not controlled by religion.
Always you have a free choice what you do?
Of course.
Jadi si Kristennya
What if
ini
you were
menganggap
lied to?
bahwa cewek ini jadi malah dikontrol oleh agama.
Well, then that's a very good question. I can ask you the same question. How do you know that whatever belief system that you're subscribed to is not a lie? How do you know that you're not lied to?
Well,
I
because I know
assume.
the truth.
Okay,
Because I know the truth.
Okay, I can say the same thing. But the difference between you and me is I spent 3 years fully dedicated to studying different religions, and you haven't. And I chose my own religion.
I heard your story about that.
So that's the difference between us.
But in the end, didn't just the random coincidence convince you to choose Islam?
No, hard study and research.
But then there was a sign, you said, right, from your mom?
This was the confirmation, but I already had made up my mind.
Did you know that the devil can do that kind of stuff too?
This is why, exactly. And this is why I wouldn't rely on a dream or an apparition. You would hear a lot of Christians say, oh my God, I saw Jesus in a dream and he told me that Christianity is the... No, I don't rely on these things. Relying on supernatural, God wouldn't let us be a victim to demons shape-shifting and giving us illusions. I rely on research, reading books and doing the research, hard work. Not just because the way of, Jesus spoke to me in a dream, that's lazy. I wouldn't rely on that, no.
Sometimes Jesus reveals himself to people.
Well, you're contradicting yourself. You just said demons can confuse you and pretend to be Jesus and pretend to be someone telling you, appearing in a dream. Didn't you just say that?
That's true that Jesus or that Satan does appear as an angel of light, but there's a difference between the real God and Satan cannot imitate God. When people have an encounter with the living God, it changes their life.
Well, people from every denomination and every sect of Christianity and every major religion can tell you that they have had experiences that confirm their faith. Hindus say this, Christians say this, Muslims say this. Oh my God, I was healed when I prayed to God, and I woke up in the morning and I was completely healed. I had in a dream, and Mary, mother of Jesus, told me that. We hear this all the time, and I'm not doubting them. They had real experiences, but demons exist and they can influence people, they can shapeshift, we can, you know, experience supernatural things because of them. So this is not the criteria. The criteria is read, compare religions and choose. Why is this so difficult for a Christian person? If I can do it, why can't other people?
Well,
why did we reach a point in humanity in 2024 where we rely on our parents' opinion about religion, or supernatural experiences, or a dream, or your feeling, when we have books that we can so easily read and research and make a logical decision about it? Why is it so hard for us to read and compare religions?
Well, if I'm going to compare, let's say Muhammad is saying that he's a prophet of God, right? Whenever I look at all the other prophets of God in the past, they've all been Jewish, and they've all been given or sent to the people of Israel.
Really?
So
they've all been Jewish? Noah was Jewish?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, the word Jewish, where does it come from? What's the origin of the word Jews? Jew or Jewish or Judah or Judea? What's the word?
You just said it. You just said that.
Judah, right? Who's Judah? Jewish comes from Judah, right?
I know. Yes, I know.
Yeah, who's Judah?
Judah is the son of Israel.
Son of Jacob.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Yeah. So, how can someone who existed before Jacob be Jewish? How?
Well, if I say Jew, I mean basically all the descendants of Israel from the line of...
Yes, okay, let's go with this. First of all, no, not all of the descendants, but hey, let's go with your claim. Noah was not a descendant. He comes before. Abraham is not a descendant of Israel. So no, sir, you're wrong. Not all prophets
I thought you were saying Moses. Sorry, I thought you meant Moses.
I said Noah, and I said Abraham, and I can also say Enoch, Idris, Enoch, and I can say Adam. So no, not every prophet is from the Israelites, because God is not unfair. He's not gonna send messengers to one ethnicity and to hell with everyone else. There are people in Native America, there are people in South America, there are people in Asia, there are people in Australia. You think God ignored them? He didn't send messengers to them at all? Just let them, be misguided? God sent a messenger to every single nation, not just the Israelites. But the Israelites...
God's plan was to send Jesus through Israel. Like, that's how his plan was.
That has nothing to do with what I just said. What I said,
yeah,
God sent a messenger to every nation.
Because that's not what his plan was. His plan was to bring redemption to mankind through Israel. I wasn't
asking a question. I was telling you a fact. God sent a messenger to every nation. There's no nation that God hasn't sent messengers to. Why do you find that so hard to like logically? Do you think God is going to judge people without sending them any messengers to warn them? Or do you think that only Israelites are going to have judgment day and everyone else are not going to exist in afterlife? What are you implying here? Why are the Israelites so arrogant that they think that they are the focus of God's attention? And God doesn't see anyone else but them. No wonder they came up with this lie of his favorite people, as if God is racist. He's gonna prefer one race over everyone else. And 61% of Israelis are atheists. You think these are God's chosen people? Atheists?
60%,
According to the statistics of 2021, 64% of Israelis are atheists.
Well, historically, I mean, current.
Remember you said Jews are the descendants of Israel, right?
Well, if you want to get into it, I don't know if you know this or not, but not everyone who says they're from Israel is Israel.
Well, I can argue with proof that the Ashkenazi Jews are not Israelis. They are not the children of Israel, because Genesis, the book of Genesis in the Torah, says that Ashkenaz is the son, one of the sons of Japheth. Okay, Japheth is a brother to Sam. You know, the Semites. So Semites, descendants of Sam. Japheth is another branch. And one of his descendants is Ashkenaz. This is in the book of Genesis. So Ashkenazi Jews are not even Israelites. These are Europeans that want to colonize, because that's in the blood of Europe. Europe loves to colonize. It's something that I cannot explain. Europe, like the signature of Europe, like the trademark of Europe, sees what the other people has and doesn't want to do fair trade like the other nations of the world. No. Why would I trade you for something when I can just take it? So Ashkenazi Jews, according to the Torah, they're descendants of Japheth. Japheth, the brother of Sam. So they're not Semites. But do you know, I want to know who's Semites? Palestinians. Palestinians are, part of them are Arabs, of course, which are Semites. So persecuting against them is anti-Semitic, especially if you're not a Semite. Ashkenaz, they're Japhethites. They're not Semites. So they are the ones anti-Semitic, and they're calling Palestinians and Arabs anti-Semitic, which is a joke. For someone who hasn't read their book, they could believe it. But I read their books. I understand their history. Have you read about the Khazars? Have you read about the Khazars?
They're people basically mass converted to Judaism?
Exactly, in Eastern Europe. They had nothing to do with Israel and Jacob and the descendants of the children of Israel. They had nothing to do with them. They're just Europeans whose king decided, I want to follow an Abrahamic religion. And he had an ambassador from Muslims, an ambassador from Christianity, and an ambassador from Judaism. And he chose Judaism. So he mass converted, forced his people, his nation, to become Jews, the Khazars. And they became the Ashkenaz. So they had nothing to do with Palestine. Nothing. But they're the ones in power now. Every single prime minister in Israel changed their name. Not even one exception. Every single prime minister of Israel had a European, either Ukrainian or Russian name. And they changed it to sound more Hebrew. All of them changed their last names. And sometimes change their first names as well. This is why DNA tests are prohibited.
Can I ask you a question? Do you believe that God is in charge of the countries and people of the world?
No, of course not. Of course not. He wouldn't rig the game. This is a test. People keep forgetting this life is a test. We're living a test. It's not that God is gonna, manipulate the test so that he can make good people, the believers, win at the end. Always the believers will win. If this is the case, because people would ask me like, okay, you are Muslims, you are Arabs, if God loves you, you guys would have been winning now, but you're not winning. The Israelis and the Christians are winning. Ha ha ha, that means God doesn't like you. Well, logically, if God always punishes the disbelievers and always makes the believers win, then the disbelievers would have believed for the wrong reasons. They would have worshipped the results and not worshipped God. So of course God wouldn't make it that way. God lets people enjoy their free will to see who's gonna do what. and for good people to have some resistance so that we have something to be good about.
It's only God's grace that is allowing you to even be alive. And because in the Old Testament there was a different dispensation of the Spirit, because after Jesus came, the sins of mankind were basically put on the cross, and then God's grace abounded to all mankind, right? So when you speak about you speak about some kind of rivalry between Muslims and Christians and Satan and God, that doesn't exist, because Satan is defeated. He was defeated on the cross by Jesus Christ, and that's how it is right now.
Okay, so
all power and authority belongs to him.
First of all, let's talk about one thing at a time. I want to ask you two questions now. You said the sins of humankind, Jesus took care of them, right? I need to ask you, what sin? What sins of humankind? Second question is, you said Satan was defeated. What do you mean defeated? Like he lost a battle, or what?
His
was he like?
Was taken from him. His power was taken from him. His authority is taken from him.
Oh, so Satan doesn't exist anymore?
Ya.
No, he exists, but he doesn't have any power or authority.
He doesn't have any power.
Jadi memang, ya, Masya Allah, tingkat kecerdasan dari wanita mualaf ini, dia punya literasi yang cukup banyak mengenai dari asal-muasal mazhab seperti yang saya bilang tadi, turunan. Dan sementara pria yang lawan debatnya ini, dia mengatakan dari mulai sampai keturunan, dari mulai idealismenya sampai semuanya bisa dibantah, karena dalil-dalil atau literasi yang dimiliki si wanita mualaf ini, dia bisa membantah dengan data dan logika mengenai asal ketuhanan dan sebagainya, hingga masuk ke masalah bangsa Yahudi atau Israel, yang tidak semua Israel itu Yahudi, sehingga silsilah keturunannya dia jelaskan sesuai mazhab. Nah, sebetulnya apa sih yang bisa diambil dari perdebatan mereka berdua ini? Kalau saya pribadi sih melihatnya bahwa memang orang tuh beragama itu harus punya akal, minimal ilmu, setidaknya walaupun dasarnya, basicnya. Kenapa sih gue percaya sama Islam? Kenapa sih gue percaya sama Kristen? Kenapa gue percaya sama Yahudi, agama Yahudi, kitab Taurat, Injil, Bible, Al-Quran, dan sebagainya? Ya memang seperti yang dikatakan si cewek ini, diuraikan semuanya. Kita harus tahu dulu, ini agama yang kita anut dan kita percaya ini keturunan dan dibawakan oleh siapa. Sehingga sampai runtutannya, dia menjelaskan dengan penuh argumentasi yang logikanya itu masuk. Sehingga si bapak-bapak yang jadi lawan diskusinya, lawan debatnya ini, dia nggak bisa menyanggah bahwa memang semua urutan dari perdebatan yang atau argumentasi yang diberikan sama si cewek ini ya benar adanya gitu loh. Dan cewek ini bicara by data dan logika serta literasi yang dia dapatkan dari kitab-kitab yang sudah dia pelajari. Emang luar biasa, Masya Allah. Ya poinnya ya intinya ya memang itu sih, orang tuh kalau beragama itu memang, kalau menurut saya pribadi ya tadi ya, orang beragama itu memang harus memiliki dasar dan tahu. Ya seperti kalau patah orang Indonesia kan bilang, ya lu nggak kenal ya nggak akan sayang lah gitu. Kurang lebih seperti itu sih menurut gue ya. Walaupun ini tidak sesebel itu, banyak uraian yang bisa kupas. Tapi setidaknya kesimpulannya dari bahasan ini, topiknya tuh poinnya seperti itu. Ya mungkin ada yang bisa menambahkan, mohon maaf kalau keterangan atau pengantar atau penjelasan dari saya memang minim, ya karena saya sendiri juga masih dalam taraf belajar dan mendalami, walaupun saya muslim dari lahir, tapi ya dengan cuplikan-cuplikan video para mualaf yang saya sajikan di channel ini, setidaknya bisa menambah wawasan dan keimanan saya, dan juga thinking, logika. Kenapa sih gue dilahirkan sebagai dari keluarga muslim misalnya, seperti saya pribadi, saya berpikir bahwa oh iya, hal seperti ini justru jujur ngomong sedikit banyaknya saya belajar dari para mualaf yang mungkin mereka baru memeluk Islam. Itu luar biasanya hidayah Allah. Dia itu memang mahal ya. Ya mohon maaf jika ada salah kata. Terima kasih sudah menonton. Silahkan jika ada yang mau menambahkan. Sampai berjumpa kembali di postingan berikutnya. Jika konten video kali ini bermanfaat, silahkan sebarkan. Dan jika ingin ada yang mau tambahkan, silahkan tambahkan di kolom komentar. Setidaknya untuk penambahan wawasan saya pribadi dan juga ya teman-teman yang lainnya. Wallahul a'lam bishawab. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.